So 24.
24. As you and Windy set to the task of turning the ballista and destroying the mechanism so it cannot be aimed at the keep, these ballistas you've seen, instead of being loaded with a large arrow, they're loaded with these, what you take to be magical rods that power the lightning discharge, each of which ends with a leather cap that folds down over the tip of it to protect it. Looking at this one, though, in the chamber where this rod should be loaded, is just a much thinner rod of blackened metal, and all around it powdered glass. And this leather cap has been shredded to the point that it would no longer function. You're pretty sure that the discharge this ballista just underwent means it's dead and dusted.
Right. It's broken. I think they're onto us. I think they're onto your like your wily ways, Windy.
I mean, that's fine. I just won't get near any more of them.
So, like, are we still collecting the obviously evil eyes?
So here's my concern with the obviously evil eyes, right?
They're obviously
evil, but that's not my concern. My concern is that I'm worried that the cloak part forms around the evil eyes, and one of us is going to open our pack and get shivved.
You open your pack and 9 arrows come flying out.
So, do the bows disappear when they die?
They do. The bows and the cloaks vanish, and the obsidian eyes fall
fling
to
them off
the
at the abyss and be done with it.
But they can fly, so then I'm worried they would just fly back up.
I mean,
then we crush
half
them?
the time they seem to break when they hit the ground anyway. Why not just drop them from a suitable height?
Yeah, if we threw them down there, they would definitely break. Or we could just smash them with a hammer.
I'd also be down for just each of us carrying one of them in case they turn out to be useful, because they've all had 2, so they probably can't form if there's just one of them.
So, question: since we've
Yeah.
now been to a glassworks, these glass eyes, do they look like is it the same kind of glass as was down in the glassworks?
Good.
The eyes
good
look
question.
like obsidian, which is a form of like natural glass.
Okay.
You're pretty sure a skilled glaziers could do something with it. But yeah, you're not sure.
But yeah, I think we each hold on to one of them, just because I doubt that they can form around just one eye, just in case they turn out to be useful somehow. But then the rest of them, we should totally just smash them. No more eyes.
So you want to keep 5, 1 apiece, and then smash the rest.
Yeah.
Do you have
We're
how
gonna
many?
need-
How are we currently carrying?
I have.
Well, I
have 2.
I currently have 3.
I haven't picked up any.
I haven't picked up any.
Adrex has some. I think he's got 2.
Are we doing this
So-
now? Or are we doing this distribution of obviously evil eyes, the good old OEs?
Yeah. Does that sound good to everyone else?
Yeah.
fine.
It's fine as
I
long as we're
suppose.
wearing proper PPE. Part of it's dosha, remember?
Okay, so
Yeah,
everybody go
there's
ahead and take
regulation.
1 obsidian eye, and you smash the rest. Yes.
Yep.
Up
Yeah.
here on the tower.
Yep.
And it's not effortless. These things definitely have some strength. You can see while sometimes a hard impact isn't enough to destroy it, unless it hits just right. A couple of these, you got to take a couple of swings before they crack and break. And before long, there's just obsidian shards black against the snow of the top of the tower.
Alright, and I'll just sweep those over the edge because no one needs to look at that, and we'll head back downstairs.
Okay.
All right, I
wonder
put 1 obviously evil, probably going to kill me obsidian eye onto my character sheet.
So
That second part sounds like speculation, and I'm not sure that Red would do that.
so I wonder if we've passed that threshold of like broken things that can't be fixed yet.
Seems
the-
like they would be able to recreate this, or that our host would be able to recreate these devices and shove them into anybody they happen to capture. And Raazu looks pointedly at Birdie when she says this.
Like, why are you looking at me? I didn't make the eyes.
You're extremely capturable, though.
No one's gonna want a ghost kobold.
It's just a
I don't
teeny
know.
tiny cloak. It's like
This kobold can fire an arrow pretty damn well. I wouldn't want to be on the receiving end of that.
How terrible would it be to
Space
fight like a
kobold.
1 foot tall version of these monsters? That's just impossible. It's just shooting like little arrows at you. That would be
That seems like it would do way less damage.
like 1d2 arrows.
They shoot you in the
They're
eye.
needles at this point. So what's next?
All right. We're going all the way back down, right?
Back down to the basement.
Back
Who's in the
down.
lead?
Adrex.
Adrex, make me a stealth check.
Uh-oh.
Sounds
SpaghettiOs.
What? Do a stealth check.
a stealth check, you say? Well, we're all flipped over as though we were dead. I'm gonna choose to not take that as an omen.
Well, I got a pair of sixes. So that's a 6.
And what's your passive perception?
11.
You hear, as you get to about the top of the stairs here, coming back down, you hear a shrill voice from not the room beyond. So you hear this kind of over the crackling roar of the fire in the room. You hear the voice from the room beyond that, from back here. So it's a little echoey. And I don't think you recognize the language. You do recognize what language it is. It's a goblinoid language, and it's a high-pitched, shrill voice, and it says, "They're in there! I can hear it! They left the door open! I know they're there! Look harder!" So, Raazu, this is what you hear coming up behind Adrex.
Is it goblin or is it hobgoblin?
It's both the same language. I know that's probably, like, you would consider that offensive, but it's all the same language.
I mean,
It's a dialect, really.
What you don't see any hobgoblins at the bottom, though, you do see come into view as they move into the direction of the stairs, 2 of the Dragonborn patrolmen
oh, we have company, it sounds like.
at the base of the stairs. So far, they haven't seen or noticed you yet. They haven't actually started coming up into the stairs. It looks like they've been searching through this room.
Huh.
Raazu sighs and says, "Looks like we got company. Ready to attack, I guess."
Birdie whispers, "They've killed a lot of Dragonborn."
Should we roll initiative?
I think that's a good
Depends.
idea.
What do you
That's
do?
the thing we should do.
You got a
Who
couple
wants
of
to start
moments
murdering?
before something happens at the base of the stairs. It looks like they're going to start coming up this way, but right now they've just come into view.
Say we declare roll initiative and see where that lands us.
So,
Let's get the
Go for it.
surprise.
no surprise. My all.
Yeah, do your thing, Adrian.
Do what you do, Adrex.
All right. It's initiative.
We're gonna attack them for once.
We're
Adrian
going to
is
launch
the
the
best at sneaking
festivities.
up on people. Understand?
All right, go ahead and roll your initiative.
I did. I got a 30.
Excellent. Again.
Yeah.
You have to roll it. You can't just.
No, I rolled a 20. I get advantage on initiative rolls. I rolled a 13 and a 20, and my initiative is plus 10.
Still
math.
plus 10?
That's
That
math.
is math. He's right.
So, Birdie, you are
Yep.
first.
Okay, so can I actually see them from where I am?
Sort of. You know that they're there more than anything because the illumination from the room
Mm-hmm.
casts long shadows onto the stairway. You're not going to have an angle to shoot them unless you're standing on the actual stairs.
Okay, well, I'm going to cunning action hide because unlike Adrex, I actually do have some stealthiness.
I just realized that I forgot to reverse the direction of these stairs. My mistake. You're going to hide where? Behind one of these pillars up here?
I'm going to actually, well, I'm going to move like kind of over here, and I'm trying to get a corner here and get an angle to shoot.
In order to hide in this little alcove, you're going to have to kind of come in behind this pillar. Are you comfortable being that close to one of these pillars?
I've already been that close to one of the pillars several times. It's
Okay.
fine.
So you take up position there and hide?
Yep. And let's see. That was a.
It's
14
fine, says the dead
plus-
kobold.
That's a 29 stealth.
Okay.
And then I'm going to just shoot this guy.
You don't have eyes on him. If you're hiding around the corner here,
No.
there's no way you can fire down the stairs.
I mean, whatever. I'll just like pop out and shoot him.
Okay.
That is an 18.
That will hit.
That is a 9 damage.
Okay.
And so I'll just move back. So this one right here is. I was talking to the other one. There you go. I marked him for you.
And yeah, your arrow punches directly through his shield, and the thing stumbles. And Raazu, as this happens, you hear a shriek from the doorway of the glaciers below. That's going to bring us to Red.
I can enter the square with this pillar.
You can. You'll be squeezing though because you're bigger than Birdie is. Yeah, you can fit back there as long as you're okay with squeezing. Which
yeah,
I now know incurs advantage on attacks against you, which I didn't know until last time we played.
Just go ahead and shoot the birdie shot. That'll hit.
You can't fire because if you want to fire at them, you got to be at the top of these stairs to get the angle downward.
So cunning action dash.
Mm-hmm.
That'll hit class 29.
29 will hit. I don't know why I spawned in 50 of these things.
Because you are you trying to
do that.
You always do that, Brickroad.
Sorry.
All right.
It's my nature.
Ding, ding, ding.
It's like how you guys insist
ding,
on
ding,
throwing
ding,
dice
ding,
off the
ding, ding,
table.
ding.
That'll deal 36 magical piercing damage.
Okay, I need the calc.exe because I can't do simple math.
Nobody can. Let's be honest.
I can
It's
get back
impossible.
to here with that dash. And that's the end of Red's turn.
Okay,
I'll save you the trouble, Brick Road. He's got -3 hit points.
nice. That's going to bring us to Windy.
It's like, why is there only 4 tokens on the initiative tracker? Oh, Birdie's off in space.
Who drew off the table here and how?
Very talented.
I mean, you can draw. Like
Windy, you're up.
Nodal.
Nodal's taking a...
Oh, I'm sorry.
A siesta.
No, I was taking a quick sabbatical.
Sorry. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to make my way up the stairs. Well, not up the stairs.
Whoa.
To the stairs.
Go down the upstairs.
I'm gonna go down the upstairs, and I'm gonna whip this guy.
Okay.
Windy reverse long jumps up the downstairs.
Uh-huh. Wow, I'm not gonna whip this guy. That's a 13 to hit.
13
Did
does
you
not
get
hit.
Did you get
Did you
advantage
get
on this guy?
advantage?
Oh, I mean, I'll say that was my first roll with advantage. That'll hit. And a crit.
Okay.
For 15 magical slashing
Very good.
on this guy right here. And then I'm going to key point to Step of the Wind. And make my way back over here to where I started.
Okay. It's going to bring us to Raazu.
Raazu is not of the mind to directly engage these guys because this is a pain. 5, 10, 20 to 25, 30 gets her right up to him and she can't back off after that. Actually, no. Yeah, so Raazu's gonna take 10 feet.
We call this the
Extra
Raazu conundrum.
Yeah, 15 feet. Can I hit shoot me here with a javelin?
Yeah, absolutely.
Drink me.
I throw my javelin at shoot me for a.
He's actually named Shoot Me. What have you people done?
Listen,
a
it's okay to
20.
rename zombies.
Would you
That's
quit
a
the
22
campaign
to
if
hit.
I took away your ability to name my monsters? That'll hit.
Yes. You have advantage on that, don't you?
Yeah, I do have advantage on that. Thank you for reminding me.
Just in case.
The advantage roll was a nat 1, so thanks, Birdie. That's 5
Why is this
piercing
my
damage.
fault?
5 piercing.
Yeah,
Okay. And the thing stumbles backward from the hit of the javelin.
it's gonna take another javelin then. That's also gonna hit for 8 piercing damage.
Very good.
And Raazu slips back behind Adrex.
You got enough movement to get all the way back?
15 feet, yeah.
Yeah,
15
you're
feet,
good.
yeah, 15 feet.
All right. And Adrex. You guys get the full Monty on these guys. That was amazing.
I want to shoot me.
Okay. With...
Brenier's longbow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is
I'm
it
gonna
is it still his longbow? I mean, possession is 9/10 of the law. As
Paranoid.
I mean, we are-
That is a 20 to hit.
20 will hit.
I think we exhausted the jokes on that with Wendy.
Possession is
and the
9/10 of
longsword.
the law. Is he a ghost?
I am going to savage attacker that.
Okay.
All right, that is 10 piercing.
And he clatters to the ground in a pile of bones. And you hear another goblinoid shriek from the doorway of the glaziers.
You know what? Get a little closer. Can I shoot him?
Yeah. You can just shot him from the top of the stairs, so you can see him.
But you can shoot anyone.
Yeah. He's
I'm
also
gonna
shooting me.
shoot him.
He's shoot me too.
Yeah, but
But
I don't
you
have
shoot him at
advantage.
advantage. Yeah.
All right. No, that's not a roll. That's a roll.
The sequel to the hit skeleton. Shoot me.
13 to hit.
13 will not hit.
Will not hit. Yeah, I'm gonna let that slide. All right, third attack.
That's nice.
That's
of
one.
you.
You got 2 more attacks. It's fine.
13 to hit.
13 does not hit.
Oh, the previous arrow was 14.
14 does not hit.
Still doesn't hit. I'm gonna blip that because I
Okay.
want to do something.
I want to do something here.
Yeah, that is a
Sure, it's a
27,
wonder.
28 to hit.
That'll hit.
All right, I will do.
I want to do something with my life.
7 piercing damage, and please make a strength saving throw. DC is
1,000,000.
I think it's been 18 lately.
19.
no.
On the strength
Boo.
save.
Boo.
They have good strength. What do you want from me?
Boo.
They don't have muscles.
Oh, it's still 10 damage.
Okay.
You wanted it.
And moving or staying put?
All right. You shall not pass.
It's probably a pretty good option because you moved all the way back. He would have just come upon you and breath
I
weaponed
know.
you.
Yeah,
Instead,
I
he's
got
gonna
one of those too.
he's
I'm
gonna
well
long
aware.
sword you twice. These should both hit actually. I got a 22 and a 23.
Gosh, let me check my character sheet.
Yeah, I think I got you.
Oh no, it says here my armor class is 92. Sorry.
9 damage from the first longsword swing, and 8 damage from the second swing. As he closes
McDohl,
up with
knock
his
him-
longsword and comes down on you twice.
Not gonna lie, I was thinking that exact same number, no fooling.
Because we're both McDohl.
It's gonna bring us back to Birdie.
Remember, I'm you in the future.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
I'm
What's
gonna
that
start
asshole ever done for you?
right here,
Okay.
and I'm gonna shoot this guy with my my ranged stabber.
Your ranged stabber? Okay, I'm gonna give him partial cover because Adrex is standing in the way.
That's fine.
Oh, actually, you know
Okay.
what? No, because Adrex is down the stairs a ways. You're firing over Adrex's head, so it doesn't matter.
Adrex
Yeah.
isn't that fat.
As he
That
eats
fit.
nachos. Okay.
God, Adrex would so eat nachos.
Oh yeah.
24 to hit.
24 does hit. We're all in agreement that Adrex would eat the hell out of some nachos.
Adrex would invent the nacho.
Yeah. But they just be chips with cheese on.
I boo the nacho as his father.
That is 21. No, excuse me, 26 magical piercing.
Okay. It's going to bring us down here. Okay, very good. And moving or staying put?
That is the second time I rolled a 20 on sneak attack. I'm going to. So I started here. 20.
I appreciate where Birdie's going because I know I can leave for a while.
Yep.
Joking, I'm just in the kitchen.
And that's going to bring us to Red. Red, can you be the guy right here?
Let's see. So
Kill him.
I don't really have to move or anything. Do I have cover? Does he have cover if I shoot him, regardless because of Adrex?
From your
Like
position, I'm going to give him
Canyon.
partial cover just because you're not looking down the stairs. You're looking past your friends in the hallway, but you can hit him from there. He's come up.
Okay.
He's come halfway up the stairs at this point. You're kind of aiming at like the top part of his head poking up.
That'll hit an armor class of 18.
That'll hit.
Oh hey, only 86 right here.
I just double posted one to the
For,
party chat.
29 magical.
29 damage, and he clatters to the ground in a pile of bones. And you hear the shrill voice from the doorway. Raazu, you can understand what they're saying. And it cries out, "What was that sound? Are they dead yet? Have you killed them all?"
Raazu replies in Hobgoblin, "No, we have not. Who are you?" She approaches.
Grab. Like, do we need to go grab this person?
When you step into the room, in the doorway here, kind of peeking in with her hands clutching the open door, you see a small goblin. Extremely pale, milk white skin, scraggly white hair falling down over the sides of her face, and she's wearing piles and piles of heavy robes. So the only part of her body you can actually see are her spindly fingers wrapped around the edge of the door, and her big, wide, bulging eyes peering in as she sees you emerge from the stairs. And no sooner does your foot hit the floor and you ask who's in here, does she throw herself onto the floor face first and begins piteously begging for her life.
Raazu approaches, grabs the collar of the robes, drags her into the room.
And she cries out,
Closes the door.
"No, don't kill me! I'll make you many pretty things. I am very skilled."
Wendy disappears for exactly 18 seconds as she goes to throw these skulls and longswords off the roof.
So, like, I rate that groveling and begging like a 6 out of 10. Like,
He's a professional.
Yeah, she's groveling pretty good.
like
Very old, very aged, this goblin. You usually don't see goblins this age because they tend to get murdered long before this.
very similar to Kobold, yeah.
In fact, nobody knows what a goblin's actual natural lifespan is.
Because they always die so quickly.
See, you
All
grab
right,
this
I'm back.
creature
What did
by
I
the
miss?
scruff of her neck and drag her into the room. What do you do with the door? Door is still standing open.
I'll close it.
Okay, you pull the door shut. And yeah, she's just incoherently begging and trying to bribe you with all of the amazing pretty things that she can make.
What's your story?
You set her down, and it looks like it's starting to dawn on her that she's not, immediately has not been killed.
No.
You ask her story. She tells you that she's a victim here, that she was kidnapped by the evil Daedra Daya and forced to put her immeasurable skill to work for her evil goals and aims. And really, she didn't want to do any of this, and none of this was her idea, and it wasn't her idea to hurt anybody. And This is the story that you're getting. It's completely
So-
bent towards this piteous, painstaking groveling.
Raazu looks around the room and says, "What, crafting pretty things for her? What did she have you do?"
And she motions to the things on the walls. Says, many pretty things. Pretty things, yes. The door, my door as well. And she motions to the door behind her, where you can see the other side of the smoked glass filling up the
But
pane.
to
of
what
the door.
end?
And she says that she's Daedradia's prisoner. She does what she asks for fear of her life.
Prisoner
What-
that isn't kept in a cell? Interesting.
Red will lean over. Hey, Birdie, are you getting any of this?
This whole conversation is transpiring in Goblinoid.
No.
She says she's a little taken aback by Raazu's observation. She says, a prisoner, yes, but a prisoner of skill, a high-value prisoner, very valued, very skilled.
Do you speak common?
You ask her in common.
Raazu will bring the rest of the people up to the conversation at this point.
Okay.
Do you speak common? She asks.
And she nods, and then in common she replies, if it please you, my lady.
It does.
You grovel a lot.
I mean, to be fair, I guess we did kind of barge into her workshop. And I don't know about how you guys proceed, but we do come off a rather intimidating sort, do we not?
Did you make the obviously evil obsidian eyeballs?
Do you present one to her?
Sure. I'll pull it out of my pouch. Did you make this?
And she shakes her head. She says, obsidian brought in from the mines. The mines below, yes.
What about the weird, I don't know, glass heart over there? Why were you making that? Weird.
Adrex will pick up the jar when he says that and shows her.
Adrex and... Just Adrex, make an insight check.
Ha! Okay. I'll make an insight check.
Do it, Adrex. I believe in you.
10!
A 10.
11!
Okay. She says that this is her craftsmanship, that she makes what Daedradia tells her to make.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Speaking of things doing what they're told, why do the Dragonborn listen to your orders?
She tells you that Daedradia has given her control over some of the patrolmen to guard her workshop, if she needs it. Not that the patrolmen were any sort of danger to the likes of you. Very strong, very skilled.
Yeah,
So
we
they don't come
absolutely
into
are.
your workshop if you don't wish it?
And she shakes her head no.
And I'll look over at Raazu.
What's up? What did you say, Nodal? What did you say? I missed you because crosstalk.
And she said that the Dragonborn don't come in here unless if she doesn't ask them to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm implying that we should take a rest here.
Raazu nods. I can
And
use
I'll-
one.
Look over at the Kobold, or the Goblin rather, and I say, you wouldn't mind keeping us company, would you? Someone of your great skill.
And she looks up at Raazu as though for confirmation that she's not about to be killed.
Raazu nods.
And Birdie, what are you doing?
Just gonna close the door.
Door's already closed. I closed it.
Okay.
So
Not in the business closing doors.
in the room, you guys are taking a rest here.
Short
for a full
rest
hour?
if we can swing it.
Go ahead and take the benefits of the short rest. During this time, this goblin talks quite a lot about how now that you're here, she no longer needs to be Daedra Daya's prisoner. That you can come here and perhaps she can share with you secrets that you can use against Daedra Daya. You can kill the evil sorceress above and free the poor, misused glassblower down here in the basements. And she gives you gifts of many of these little baubles, these little animals and creatures that she's made in different colors of glass. And she fills your hands and your pouches with these. She goes from one to the next all around the room. And she lavishes you with compliments about how strong and powerful you are and the incredibly strong magics you wield. Surely Daedra Daya will stand no chance against your like. This goes on for the full hour that you're resting.
Yeah, no, I get it. We're really strong. Hey, did this heart used to be a real heart?
And you see the kind of jovialness melt away from her face when you ask her the question direct. And very bluntly and without any embellishment, she simply reiterates she has to do what Daedra Daya tells her to do.
What did Daedra Daya tell you to do?
And she shakes her head and she says, first you must promise that you'll kill her. You must promise that I am now free. I am no longer a prisoner.
Everyone wants to be.
You must promise me this thing, because if I tell you and you do not, Daedra Daya will punish me worse than you could.
Raazu looks at one of
here's
the
the thing.
obsidian orbs
Okay.
when she says that.
Here's the thing. I don't have a problem setting you free. And I'll look around at the rest of the group. However, I will point out that we tend to go around putting down things that cause great evils, such as, say, turning hearts into glass. And Daedra Daya clearly was the cause of this happening. You just said so. But I would hate to hear that kept happening.
To what end? Like, what kind of response are you trying to get out of this creature?
I'm basically just implying, like, hey, listen, we'll set you free, but if we start hearing about people being turned to glass and all kinds of crazy shit, we'll just come back and kill you too.
Okay. Now, she's not making you promise just to set her free. She's also making you promise to kill Daedra Daya.
I mean, that's gonna happen anyway.
Do you tell her that?
I mean, it's kind of going that way, yeah.
It's kind of headed that way.
Yeah.
Sometimes
That is the problem with necromancers, isn't it? Is the worst we can do to someone is killing them. Whereas I'm starting to get the impression that necromancers can do something much worse.
Well, so here's the thing. I don't have any problem with raising people from the dead. You know, whatever. Look at Raazu. Raazu's a perfect member of society.
I'm a credit to the reanimated.
Those Dragonborn aren't using their skeletons anymore. Someone wants to make use of them. Fine, whatever. It's this, like, ghost thing that I have a problem with.
Like, we don't know, though, if, like, they're making the ghosts drive the skeletons. What if that's what's going on? I think that's what Red is afraid of.
She looks nervously
Like a reindeer.
She looks nervously
With a
between the
sledge.
door and the fire pit in the room. And she says, a demonstration of my magic, of my skill. And she starts to saunter over to Birdie.
Birdie pulls a knife. Like, that's like, no.
And she stops and shrieks, and she looks back at Raazu, and in the goblinoid tongue she begins pleading and says, you said you wouldn't! You said you wouldn't! You said I was safe!
You'll not harm my kobold, right?
And she shakes her head. Says, I will respect all of your underlings. But I must demonstrate, I must show.
Says to Birdie, stand down.
Birdie slowly sheaves his knife and then makes the "I'm watching you" gesture at the goblin.
And she kind of whimpers as she very slowly inches forward, sliding one foot at a time across the room to Birdie. And she reaches out a shaking hand to the side of Birdie's head. And you feel her touch the side of your face and sweep behind your ear. And then there's a slight pinch. And when she pulls back, her hand is clutched. And she says, I found this. I found this. And she opens her hand. And inside of her palm, where there was nothing before, is a large scarab, a beetle.
It's a nickel.
And it flits back and forth in her hand. And you can see that it's a live scarab.
Can I do a perception to see if that was just sleight of hand?
Yeah, go ahead and
Like
make that check.
Fred's watch.
Are you skilled in sleight of hand? Are you trained?
No.
Okay, yeah,
just
go ahead.
have
You can
high
make a
dex.
perception check.
Pulls it out from behind Birdie's ear.
That is.
What was that perception?
That would be 19.
Jeez.
Absolutely sleight of hand. There was not a beetle behind Birdie's ear. Not even a little bit. No, she had palmed this thing. It looked like it came from one of the folds of her robes. But she takes it, and she seems pretty pleased with herself that she was able to demonstrate this magic trick. And she saunters over to the pit of sand. And she steps into it and leaves her footprints in the colored sand. And she sets the scarab in the center of it. And it flits there in the sand for a moment. She goes over to the rack of the dozen or so, well, 2 dozen or so rods inside. And she selects a few of them. And she goes over and she affixes the metal ends, the shaped ends, into the various holes in the stones around. And she does this 2 or 3 at a time. A lot of manual dexterity is required, because one of these is poked into this stone. There'd be nothing holding it there. She has to physically hold it. Otherwise it would just fall into the sand. And as she does this, she's holding 2 with the palm of her hand and 1 with the elbow of the same arm, reaching back with a 3rd arm. And each one causes the sand in the pit to move in a particular way until the scarab is covered with a small pile of colored sand. And she's kind of humming to herself the whole time that she's working. When this is done, she very carefully takes these pokers out, puts them back in the rack, takes out one with a scoop on the end, reaches very tenderly into the center, and lifts the scarab up in this little pile of sand. Takes it over and holds it over the fire until it has a nice deep orange glow. She takes it over to a barrel of cold water she has sitting nearby and drops it in. And when she pulls it back out, she has a beautiful glass scarab that she presents to Adrex, who is standing nearest to her.
Adrex takes the scarab,
And
looks at it dumbfounded, and says, Birdie, why did you have that beetle?
Birdie slaps his own, like, he just facepalms.
Adrex, to your eyes, this is just a beautifully crafted glass scarab with impossible levels of detail. The wings are so razor sharp and thin. And you can see, if not for the magic that she wields in this place, she would not... Even the most skilled glassblower would not be able to make something like this. And she turns back to Windy, and in common, she says, a bug, only a bug. Nobody misses a bug. But demonstration shows I'm not lying. I am skilled indeed.
It's very
So
clear,
you need to
yes.
drag whatever it is into that pit?
She says that, to her horror, and you can hear the whimpering, and she begins tearing up. So this is sometimes Daedra brings bigger things, living pieces of things, arms and organs, eyes.
Wait, do you mean that they're still living despite being pieces?
And she nods vigorously, and her eyes get very wide when she does.
Starting to lean very heavily on the no towards necromancy.
Foul magic she wields, very dark, very evil. You will kill her, yes?
Probably, yes.
Well, but
So-
Red, what if someone needed a living heart? Like, they needed a new heart. Then, a magic that could keep a heart still living would be very useful.
But
No, I mean
at the
that's
same time,
completely fair. It's just like
she's not doing that to.
Right, that's
preserve
why.
heart.
That's what I'm
She's doing-
saying.
Plus, I mean, I'm pretty sure you still have to kill someone to get that heart. I mean, I guess
I'm
you
not.
could kill someone
not-
who needs to be killed anyway.
Right, I'm not down on necromancy. I'm down on necromancer.
No,
This
that's
necromancer.
yeah, that's pretty much no. We're on the same page.
I don't know. So, again, what is Daedra Daya doing with the glass?
The glass figures.
And she shakes her head. She does not know. Or
Are-
she claims she does not know.
Does
It's just crazy wizard shit.
Raazu
Is-
looks to Red
is
and
it-
subtly taps her temple. Trying to signal to Red to do his brain thing.
Could I do a insight to see if I think she's actually holding anything back there?
I'll make an insight check. Yeah, go ahead.
Right, that's going to be a 30. Page there. Okay, there we go. 31.
Million.
Okay, so a 57.
Yeah.
92.
This goblin is falling over herself trying to impress you and make it very, very clear how useful she can be to you.
Uh huh.
She's definitely in the same mode where she will literally say anything she needs to in
Okay.
order to endear herself to you. That being said,
Mm-hmm.
you don't get the sense that she's lying.
I'll just kind of shake my head no to Raazu, like, I hope at this point you understand what that means. I think she's telling.
Raazu nods.
So, I have like a mechanical question for this. So, like, if the heart was alive when they brought it to you, and I'm talking to the goblin, is it still alive now that it's glass?
And she points back at the scarab that Adrex is still holding in your hand. Adrex, you're holding this beautiful glass scarab, but it is not moving, and by no metric could you say this thing is alive. It's just
Wonder
a
if you
hunk
can
of
put
glass.
it. Maybe you can make a golem or something out of it. Like there might be other magic that happens later that turns it into something horrible. You have to kill.
Maybe she just likes art.
Yeah.
Seems like an awful lot of work just for art.
Obviously, Daedra Daya is using. I mean, we don't know what Daedra Daya is using her for, huh?
But is it though, Birdie? Because like, it would take a lot more time and effort to actually make that from real glass than just taking a heart and foamifying.
You have to find somebody, cut their heart out. You have to. Okay, she would
I
have
could
to
do both of those in about 30 seconds.
In the middle of like this like frozen tundra wasteland where there's nothing and nobody. So she
We're
has to-
here.
okay, so she has to lure people in, trap them, cut their heart out, do
I
some
think
weird.
the first 3 points of
ma-
those just happen. Like, you know, you don't have to prepare. You just prepare for that as
And
the
she's
eventuality.
working on the number 4.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like this.
All right, but in
I
any
don't-
case,
Listen,
so, you've convinced us. We're done with this Daedra Daya woman.
She nods and clasps her hands together and smiles.
Now, what can you tell us that'll make it so that we're not lying when we say we'll go kill her? Like, how can we? What do you know about this area that's going to kill us first?
She goes over to one of the shelves where Adrex is standing. And she kind of ushers him aside, kind of brusquely. Like, she doesn't ask you to step aside. She just kind of sweeps her robes at you to get you to move. She affixes her hand to a glass ball that's sitting on one of the shelves that you thought was just one of the baubles that she had made. But it becomes apparent that it's not just sitting there. It's actually affixed to a mechanism that when she pulls aside, part of the shelf opens into a cubby in the room beyond. So, a small room right behind where Adrex is standing. Maybe something like this. Just a closet space, really. And inside, you see weapons made out of glass. Swords, spears, a bow with an impossibly thin glass string. And stacked up very carefully along one wall, you see piles of these metal rods with glass inlays swooping around them. And you recognize these right away as the the devices that are loaded into the ballistas that allow them to fire lightning.
Ah!
And as soon as that clicks on Adrex's brain, Adrex goes, "What's the command word to operate the ballista?"
She
Raazu
says,
sighs.
Daedra does not trust her with these words. Only the man who makes the cloaked archers knows for sure. Only the man who makes, and she throws a long, pointed, spindly finger towards Birdie, those eyes.
Birdie
Adrex
looks at it.
puts out the most pathetic whimpering sound he's made in the whole adventure yet.
Birdie throws his hand over his shoulder. It points back, like over, like behind him, and says, "Is it that bear guy?"
And her eyes get wide, and she nods.
I knew we should have killed him.
And she holds up her hands and says, "No, you can't. Please, promise you won't. Promise you won't kill. You said you wouldn't. You said we were safe."
Not you.
No, I already talked to the bear guy. We came to an understanding.
And she swears up and down that he is also a prisoner of Daedra, that he's also a victim, that he's also been bent towards evil acts that are not of his own doing.
I suppose we could go talk to him face to face.
So, like, what kind of bow is that, by the way?
It's a short bow, hanging on the wall back there.
I mean, like,
What? How do you
It's-
make a weapon out of glass? I mean, the thing would break if you pulled on the string.
And her face lights up and she says, "I can demonstrate. I will show you, yes."
Raazu
I
switches
mean,
back to
Red is
Goblin and
already over
says,
here looking through the pile to see if there's any decent daggers.
You do find some knives. The thing, these are glass weapons. These will not be effective weapons. I mean, they're sharp enough, but there's a reason people make weapons out of metal and not glass. This isn't Elder Scrolls.
A glass
Raazu
arrow. That's
Look,
fucked
one-
up.
One good
Raazu
stab
switches-
is sometimes all you need.
See, if you played Saga,
Raazu switches back to
Adrex.
Goblin
yeah.
Razu switches back to Goblin. Why?
and says, "You'll not harm my kobold, right?"
And she shakes her head. She asks if you have a knife.
Birdie whispers. He goes, "I feel like I'm being talked down upon every time she switches to a goblin, and I don't know why."
Adrex, make it an Arcana check. Yeah, she asks Razu if you have a knife.
Raazu personally does not, but Raazu looks to Red and says, "Do you have a knife?"
What's your poison?
None, preferably.
That is a 12.
Red says, "No, I don't have any." What'd you get, Adrex?
12.
A 12. Okay.
Red feels around in his back for a minute and flips out a rib bone stiletto and hands it to Raazu.
Raazu hands the stiletto to the goblin.
Okay. And Red, you can go ahead and mark that stiletto off because you're not getting that back.
Red,
Adrex,
open.
Once upon a time, you spent a long time studying a book of elven magic that was given to you. And at the time, you were not yet trained in Arcana, and you were able to read the text, but you weren't able to make a lot of sense out of it. And you're still not sure that you are. However, you recall many mentions of glass in that text in the sense of elven magic. And that's it. That's what you get with that roll. And the goblin takes the stiletto over and stands it up in the sand. And she goes through the whole ritual again, where she takes out various colored rods and affixes them to the stone. And you see the sand swirl around magically until the stiletto is completely covered. And then she gets a pair of tongs and very gingerly picks it up and takes it over and spins it over the heat. And it glows great orange. She takes it back over to the barrel and drops it in and cools it off. And when she turns back and presents it to Raazu and Red, it's a beautiful glass stiletto.
Raazu looks at it and looks to Red and says, and looks to Red, then back to her and says, "So it's pretty and all, but how does this make this how does this make this an effective weapon?"
And the goblin shakes her head and says, "Weapon, no, is piece of art, is beauty, is color given form."
Well, if the rods from the ballista are any indication, it goes inside of it.
So you think this is just a dagger of lightning now?
No, there's nothing in it. There's got to be another process to shove magic inside of it.
Oh, okay. Is that the technical term, shove? Sorry, I've been attending the night classes.
No, they're not knight classes, they're wizard classes.
I mean, that's my
Raazu
assumption
looks-
anyway.
Raazu looks to the
thinking
goblin
of
for
ballistic.
confirmation, or looks to the goblin for confirmation of what was just speculated there.
And the goblin again shakes her head. She says sometimes Daedra Daya takes the things that she makes, and after that she doesn't see them. Sometimes she takes the things that she makes. Sometimes she only makes pieces of things, glass pieces that Daedra Daya affixes to other things. And sometimes she brings them back and stores them in a secret place. And she again motions to the closet, where many of these glass things are found.
Red will slide the glass stiletto back into his...
When I talk to the bear
Red,
man
make a
last...
dexterity check.
Don't stab the cat.
That would be,
Cat isn't here.
13.
A 13?
Mhm.
As you go to slide your stiletto in, you're so used to this knife just sliding in and out, having a metal tip, but it no longer has a metal tip. It now has an impossibly thin, an impossibly sharp glass tip, and as you do, you feel the tip of the stiletto break off as you slide it into the sheath.
You know what? I am curious. I have never shot an arrow made of glass at someone. Do you have any arrows back there? I want an arrow.
Maybe
I
just
shoot
an
it.
arrowhead?
No, I don't care.
Red will pull the stiletto out and look at the two pieces.
That's true.
Oh, that
Maybe
is-
just an arrowhead.
I mean, just
That is
looking at it,
incredibly fragile.
the most of the stiletto is still intact. It's just the last maybe quarter inch or so that's snapped off. And she does have glass arrows in this room with shaft and fletching and all. And Wendy, holding this glass arrow in your hand, your first thought is there's no way this thing can fly because the fletching is solid glass. There's no way for it to catch the wind properly.
So, yeah, just a head. If we just had an arrowhead. But I don't know how to make arrows.
Like, literally, all you got to do is like Birdie walks over and grabs the arrow from Wendy's hand and snaps the shaft off. It says, "There you go." An
If you are
arrowhead.
proficient in short bow or longbow, you have fletching skill. You know how to make arrows.
All right, well then, yeah, I'll just take
The
one
reason
of the
I
heads
say
off.
that is in second edition, fletching was its own skill, and there
Yeah.
is no more fletching skill. I think as of third edition, there's no more fletching skill.
No,
I'll
there
detach one of the arrowheads and
Okay.
give it to her to put through. And while she's going through the ritual, I'll ask her, by the way, the last time I
And she
talked
shrieks,
to
"Do not interrupt! Very delicate, very precise."
All right.
Adrex is actively observing what she's doing in an effort to try and be able to recreate this.
There's no way.
I know, but
Obviously,
gonna-
this whatever she's doing has taken many years of practice. Go ahead and make an Arcana check, though.
How much of this is smoke and mirrors?
15.
15. You get a sense of watching this ritual, the music that she's humming. You're not sure how much of this is actually magic, but watching her do this, she believes every part of this ritual is very, very necessary. The humming, the motions that she makes, the particular colors of sand. You're pretty sure that this isn't just magic she's learned or practiced. You're pretty sure this is magic she's developed over a very long life. Like,
And I'll lean over to Adrex and I'll whisper, look, don't let her know that you know, but she's got a hidden pocket inside that room. It's probably full of scarabs. That's how some of it works.
well, you carry snacks when you go around, don't you?
And I'm going to take the long, spindly shard of the dagger that broke off, and I'm going to put it in my pocket along with my other needles.
Okay.
So
And at the end, Woody, she presents you with a glass arrowhead that affixes to one of your arrows.
And I'll fix it back on, and I'll say, the last time I talked to that bear man, he sounded very concerned about making sure that he was following the intent of Daedra Daya, or perhaps the form of the rules that he was given. If you talk to him, could you talk him down from that? Convince him to work with us?
And her eyes narrow a little bit. And she says, "A prisoner he is, yes. A prisoner like me. A victim, too. but frightful he is. Powerful, secretive. A dark soul he may still have, yes. Even though a prisoner, scared of him I am. And she shakes as she gives you this observation.
Are there any other prisoners of Daedra we should know about?
She mentions Theta, the orc girl that you met previously. And... Sorry, I have to look up some 4-week-old notes here.
Yeah, that's fair.
She mentions an old gray-furred yak man, a Yakaria. Oh, you guys fought some of these early on, as I recall.
Yep.
Who came to them a long while back, also very skilled, but at the husbandry of insects. Very useful to Daedra. Also a victim, also a prisoner. But she does not know him very well. He's very secretive, he keeps to his own.
Raazu mutters gray.
She says that he resides behind a magically sealed door, to which she does not know the opening word.
Do you know the opening words to any other doors other than, and I'll repeat the word that we already know.
That's a good question, actually. She does not, just to this one, so she can access the higher floors up. Wait a minute, maybe that's not true. I don't want to lie to you.
Don't lie to me.
This door here is not magically sealed. But she does know that this door is only safely openable. This one here, at the end of this hallway.
Yeah.
Only the undead open that door. The patrolmen, the Dragonborn skeletons, can safely open that door.
Could you order one of the patrolmen to open it for us?
If we're standing here and you tell them to do something, will they listen to you or will they attack us?
And she looks kind of forlornly at the pile of bones at the base of her stairs, now missing skulls. And she says, "No longer."
Alright, well, cool.
Sure
that's great to know.
I think we just sleep in this room. More of them show up.
Can we get like an arm bone and then just kind of wrap and use it to kind of lever open the door? Do you think that would work?
She doesn't know. What's kept in this room is it's essentially an armory. That's where they keep the weapons that they use.
What happens if a non-undead opens it? Do you know?
She says that she's never seen it happen, but she's been told that if a living flesh touches the door and attempts to open it, it will surely die.
We need to get into that room, though. There's a lot of swords that I need to throw off of cliffs.
Does it? Well,
that sounds like a Raazu job.
Does it? Well, okay. So, like, is it flesh? Can we, like, I wonder if like there's a range thing. Can we like can we just like very carefully tie a rope around the loop, go around the corner, and yank it?
I kind of like the skeleton plan.
She says, "Very curious about dark magic. Very curious you are. You won't live to be as old as I am."
Raazu snarls angrily at Red and says, "Hey, look! You touch my hand, feel it. There's blood flowing through there. I have a heartbeat.
Birdie,
I'm alive."
I'm completely convinced you're alive, Raazu. I just think you're the best one to tank the dark magic.
Birdie, Raazu is
I don't
very
have confidence
angry.
in anyone else not being overcome by it.
Raazu steps away from Red and stops acknowledging him for a bit.
Birdie looks at the goblin, puts his hand on both his on his hips, and says, "I'm 15. I am a very old kobold."
Red, you know Razu's self-conscious about the fact that she's mostly dead.
So
She's drowned like 3 times by this point.
I assumed she'd be proud of the fact that she can probably just, take one of those dark magics and keep walking.
what else do we need to do with the goblin glass blower here?
Adrex has ignored everyone for the majority of this conversation and is just staring at the pride pit.
The pride pit?
The pride pit.
Adrex is mesmerized by all this.
She has 2 more secrets about the dungeon to share now that she's pretty much convinced that you're here to kill Daedra Daya. One of which is she describes this room that was repurposed as a glassblower's chamber. But great fire is needed in here and great heat in order to shape and control the shape of the glass. And it was very problematic at first because of the type of trap in this hallway. She tells you that the trap involved very cold water, and that Daedra Daya had to disable the trap in this hallway. She tells you there's 2 other similar hallways leading out to other towers around the keep that have not been similarly disarmed. And she describes the trap as the hallway having several inches of extremely cold water that you'd have to wade through. And at a certain point, the water would flash freeze, locking your legs in place, so the patrolman could descend upon you, or the archers could swoop down from the towers.
Makes sense.
Alright, that sounds bad.
So then we won't do that.
She also tells you that perhaps you have seen the chapel on the floor above. You would have had to pass through it in order to find the stairs down into the basement.
Aye.
She tells you that there is a magically sealed door in that chapel, and behind there, she doesn't know how it works, but there is a kind of shaft bore into the ceiling of that room that stretches up into the floor of the floor above, and then through the ceiling of that floor. Essentially, this room is built to gather sunlight as it shines in at noontime from above. At exactly noon, when the sun is at the highest point in the sky, something very powerful happens in that room. She thinks there's some kind of connection between that room and the magic that Daedra Daya crafts and creates.
Good to know. Thank you. One last question. Is there anything that the Yak Man does for you? Like, something that you have told him to do in the past that he does as part of his duties?
She tells you that most of Daedra Daya's prisoners, they keep pretty much to themselves. They have their tasks and they go about them. She describes the relationship she has with these other people. Go ahead and make an insight check, please.
Alright.
She has no love for these men, nor does she have any love for Castus upstairs or especially not his orc squire, who, as far as she's concerned, I mean, she's an orc. You can just go ahead and toss her off the keep, if you would, please. How'd that insight do?
That's 17?
As she's describing the other prisoners, she's very adamant. They are prisoners. They're not here of their own volition. As long as they do their work and produce results for Daedra Daya, they're pretty much left to their own devices. But there's no fraternization between them. And what you come to realize is that Daedra Daya must have purposely harvested mistrust between these various prisoners. They don't like each other. They're afraid of each other. They're isolated, in other words.
Uh-huh. No, that's good to know.
No, I think that's actually very helpful, yeah.
At the same time, though, she doesn't want to see any of the prisoners killed during your adventures here. She tells you that, I mean, you know the room where the necromancer is, and she tells you that there's a sealed door at the end of this hallway here that leads to the chambers where the Antkeeper is kept. And she says that the Antkeeper's chambers are new. They were not part of the keep as it was originally built. Daedra Daya has tunneled in that direction for some reason.
Alright.
And the hallway leading to the Antkeeper chambers, is that one of the ones that's trapped by the freezing water trap?
No, the freezing water traps lead out to the satellite towers.
Okay. I'm just trying to three-dimensional picture this in my head and as to which of these hallways would lead to the satellite towers. But anyway, yeah. So I think we're pretty much done with her at this point.
So we'll go ahead and take our break there for 15 minutes. Everybody can go ahead and make a delicious sandwich. We will reconvene at about 4:50.